Let's dive into the basics of loops in programming. We're going to look at two essential types of loops, that is for loops and while loops. And we're also going to see how to use them and when to use each loop. So a loop is a sequence of instructions that are executed multiple times without having the need to type to run every single instruction. So let's start with a for loop. Let's look at the syntax of a for loop. So you write the keyword for, so for, that's a keyword, then a bracket, you open the bracket, then let I is equals to 0, then write a colon, I is less than, you can give it any number, 5 or 10 or 20, so let's go with 10, then another colon, then I plus plus I, then you close the colon, open a curly brace, then close it here, then you console dot log I. Yes, so this is the basic syntax of a for loop. Yes, so let's go through this syntax. Let me increase this. Yeah, so that should be enough. Okay. So let's start with the word for. So the word for is a keyword that shows the beginning of a for loop. That's it. It just shows that this is where the for loop begins. Then let I is equals to 0. Let I is equals to 0 initializes a variable called I, then gives it a value of 0. So now our I is equal to 0. Then let's move to the next one. I is less than 10. So this is a condition that shows how many times the loop should run. So in this case, 10. It will make sense. So we are checking if our I is less than 10. Remember, I is equal to 0. So I is not less, is obviously less than 10 at this point. Then the next chunk of code increments I by 1, increments the value of I by 1. I plus plus increments I by 1. So now our I will be equal to 1 in the second iteration. Then of course the curly braces shows the block of code to be executed this number of times. Okay, so it will make sense when we start to see how it works in VS Code. So let's look at for loops in action. So here we have a HTML file with a link with a script tag that links to a JavaScript file called index.js, in which we only have one line of code that logs the word for loop. So, and we also have run the HTML file in the browser and it logs the word for loop. So let's start by writing our first for loop. So again, we have the keyword for, then we open the bracket, then we initialize our I, so let I is equals to 0. So that's our starting point. Then we check if our I is less than 10. So if I is less than 10, don't forget the semicolon. So after initializing I is equals to 0, semicolon, then I is less than 10, semicolon, then I plus plus. So this will be implementing value of I by 1. Then need to close the parentheses, then open a curly brackets. Nice. Then we console log I. So this will print the value of I. Yes. So if we save this and refresh our page, we should see it has logged the numbers from 0 to 9. So it works. So let's go through how this works. Yes. So what happens here? We have set our value, our I value to be 0. So now our I in the first iteration, I is equal to 0. So it comes and checks if I is less than 10, which is true. I is equal to 0 and 0 is less than 10, so that's true. Then it doesn't go here first. So after checking that I is less than 10, it logs the value of I, which is equal to 0. Then after that is when it's adding 1 to the value of I. So basically this line is think of it as is here. So we have I, we check, then we log, then add. So this is how it is. Have this in mind, but this is how we write it. So we set the value of I, we check if I is less than 10, we log it, then we add. So now in our second iteration, remember we logged 0, then we added 1. So now our I is equals to 1, right? So we come, so now I is not equal to 0 now, so I is equals to 1. This only initializes it once, so this only happened once. So now our value of I is 1. We come and check if I is less than 10 and 1 is less than 10, so it's true. It logs 1. So I is equals to 1, then adds 1 to it. So let's add it here. So this one added 1. This one. Nice. So now the value of I is 2, right? So we come and check if 2 is less than 10. It is less than 10. We log the value 2. So I is equals to 2. Then after that, after logging 2, then we add 1. So now it becomes 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1. Nice. Then we go back up. We check if 2 plus 1 is equal to 3 is less than 10. It's true. The value of I is 3 and 3 is less than 10. That's true. We log it. We log 3. I is equals to 3. Then after logging 3, we add 1 to it. So it becomes 3 plus 1. So this is how it goes. It goes on and on and on until our I is getting. So it goes like that until our I is equal, let's say 8 is equals to 8. So our I is equals to 8. So now that our I is equals to 8, we check, we go back to the loop and check if I, which is equals to 8, is less than 10. It is true. We log it, then we add 1. So 8 plus 1. Now that's 9. Then we go back again. We check if I is less than 10. It's true, 9 is less than 10. We log 9. Then we add 1. Again, add 1. Then again we go back. We check if I, which now is 10, is less than 10. Now that's not true. 10 is equals to 10. So that's when our for loop stops. Right. So because this part was meant to check if the value of I is less than 10 and the value of I is 10 at this point. So 10 cannot be less than 10. So this is when the loop stops. And now our loop has been satisfied. So it will log all the way from 0 up to 9, because 9 is the last point that is less than 10. So it will not log 10 because 10 is not less than 10. So I hope that makes sense. Yes. So let's go through the syntax one more time. So again, we have the for keyword that initializes a for loop. So it basically shows that a for loop has begun. Then we open a bracket. Then we write let I is equals to 0. So this is just a variable. This I, it can be I, let j, let age, let num, anything. It's just a variable. Then we initialize it to the starting value. We can even start from 2. Let I is equals to 2. It doesn't have to be 0. Then here we give it the last value. So this was our starting value where the loop starts. It can be 0, 2, anything. Then this is where the loop stops. This is where it ends. So this is the last value. So it can be looping from 0 all the way to 10. It can be 100, it can be 20, it can be 1000. So this is the condition that tells the loop when to stop. So when this condition is met, it stops. Then after checking, if our condition is still, if our number is still below 10, that is the value of I. If the value of I is still below 10, it prints the current value, then adds 1. So it sets a variable, gives it a value, then checks if the value is below 10. If it's true, logs the value, then adds 1 to the value, then repeat the process again until the value is equal to 10. If it's equal to 10, it stops. Yes, so that's basically the basics of for loops. I hope it helped. Thanks.